Hello everyone, my name is Lunchbox Logic and welcome back to Love and Romance, a study of intimacy. In the last episode, if you haven't seen it, we got set up with a cabin in the woods because we are a writer and we are shit at writing sex scenes in books. So we've been hired a cabin by our agent and he's picking us up and we're going to go to the cabin to learn, relax and learn some writing about sex, do research on it and stuff. I was set on doing this. There was no reason to turn back now. Oh wow, is that Lee? I quickly rushed outside and spotted Lee's car with the man himself, leaning on the driver's side door. It had been a while since I had seen him, so I took in his form before approaching. For some reason, I couldn't help but remember that he used to be a model. I was shocked the first time I found out, but apparently he did modelling before he became an agent. Why he left modelling, I would never know, but I was thankful for his work as my manager and agent. Still looking at him as I approached, I definitely found him attractive, at least enough to be a model from a magazine, especially leaning on the car. Lee finally turned to me and smiled, lifting himself off his car and taking a step towards me.
Hey! Morning.
Good morning. Morning, hey sexy, or it's too early to even be alive. I hated mornings. If the sun only came up at noon, then I'd be fine and be able to sleep in longer. Sadly, I knew better and ignored the universe's infernal schedule and rotation. Lee chuckled a bit and stepped close to me, rustling my hair a bit.
Come on. I got you coffee and a breakfast sandwich. Shake it out.
That sounds nice. That was thoughtful of him. I smiled a bit as he flicked his fingers through my hair, fixing it from its disheveled state. Thanks, Lee.
Absolutely.
Lee finally lowered his hand and stretched his arm towards my bag.
Here, I can take that.
I giggled and passed my bag to him. He took the strap of the bag up and placed it over his shoulder with ease. Such a gentleman, thank you.
Anything I can do to help, Amelia?
I felt my heart warm a bit at his words. He always said to me, even for the smallest things. He took it upon himself to make sure my job was easier and full of success, always going back to that phrase every time I would question him. It became his way of saying, no problem, I guess. Oh wow. There's a lot of backgrounds in this, isn't there? I like the backgrounds. It's really cool. Did he blink as well then? Is he blinking while yeah, oh my god, that's cool. Okay, I walked around to the passenger side door and opened it, sliding into the car and closing the door after. I buckled in and watched Lee from the car windows, seeing him walk around, place my bag gently in the back, and join me in the driver's seat. Before he buckled himself in, however, he lifted the paper bag that was sitting between our seats up to my eye level, swinging it lightly.
Breakfast.
Ah yes, breakfast. My eyes brightened from the insignia on the back, a pink lady silhouette. Taking the bag from Lee, I sat it on my lap and opened the top, revealing a neatly wrapped sandwich. You went to the Pink Lady Cafe for food?
Of course. Only Kay knows how to make your coffee perfectly.
Wow.
Wanted to make sure you were bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for the drive ahead.
Wow. He's like a real suck-up, isn't he? Proper, not that it's a bad thing. Most of you ladies would kill for a man like this. He's good-looking, he's charming, and, he does all the right things. Lee pointed to the coffee cup in the cup holder as he began to buckle up. I grinned from ear to ear before reaching over and lifting the cup out of the holder. It was warm in my hand. Hallelujah. I tilted my head back a bit and sipped it. Tasting pure, hard black coffee run along my tongue. Tasting a sweet blend of coffee, milk and vanilla dance in harmony in my mouth. Tasting sugar beyond anything else with a mere hint of coffee on my taste buds. Tasting a sweet blend of coffee, milk and vanilla dance in harmony in my mouth. Yeah, whatever. I swirled out and let a sweet sigh. I smiled and let out a sweet sigh, relishing in the taste of the latte swirling in my mouth. Not many people could appreciate the true latte, but when Kay made it, it was a treasure. That hit the spot.
I'm glad.
Sure you are. You're the best, Lee. Lee chuckled in reply before starting the car and driving out. Apparently, he had a full tank of gas, and we immediately got onto the highway towards wherever the cabin was.
So, do you have a plan of action?
Well, I figured I would just sit down by the fire or something and clack away at my laptop for a week to see what happens.
You think that'll work?
It might do. I don't know. I've never been isolated in a cabin in the woods before, so who knows if this will even work.
Let's hope it does.
Let's hope. I nodded, determined to get the job done. I grabbed my breakfast sandwich from the paper bag it was sitting in and unwrapped it before chowing down. Each bite was full of flavour and made me groan happily.
Hey, don't start practicing now.
Oh, wow. I looked at Lee, unsure of what he meant before realising what noises came out of my mouth. I felt myself blush a deep crimson before continuing to eat silently. As I finished the bite, I puffed out my cheeks. Why are you listening anyway? Don't you have a girlfriend? The thought of his girlfriend popped into my brain as I asked. She was gorgeous, and she was a local actress. For Chicago, small screen talent. She was practically the best in the field. I was slightly envious of her. Lee let out a small, low sigh, which broke me from my thoughts.
We broke up a couple of months ago.
Oh well. Plenty more fish in the sea, dude. I was shocked. Lee seemed to really like her, maybe even loved her. What could have caused the split? As if Lee read my mind, he answered with a small smile.
It was a mutual breakup. We just, lost what we felt for each other. She focused more on her career than in the relationship, while I focused more on mine.
Right. But you were together for what, a year?
A year and a half, but things like that happen sometimes. We both understood, and we're still on good terms, I guess.
Fair enough. That was respectable. I finished the last bite of my sandwich and sipped on my coffee before looking to the road.
To be perfectly honest, I really didn't love her as much as I thought I did.
Right. Really? Lee nodded, reaching down by the cup holders and burying his hand in a smaller brown bag, and pulled out a small piece of what looked like a cinnamon roll. He did love his sweets. After tossing it into his mouth and eating it, he continued.
I thought I did, but once I started working more and doing other things, I guess I fell out of whatever honeymoon state of mind I was in. Sad, huh?
Happens to quite a lot of people, actually. I shook my head. It was understandable. Romance was not always happy or long-lasting. I knew this very well, having written out many forms of love. Sometimes it just didn't work out, or the sparks were not as big as they really were. Despite it being said, it was one of many relationships and emotions a person could face in love. Not at all. You can't stop your heart from feeling what it feels for someone, even if it stops being in love with them. Lee nodded and let out a silent sigh. Something in my gut that there was more to the story, but I didn't want to prod him about it any longer. However, he slowly grew a smile on his face, making me raise an eyebrow.
What about you? Still haven't found Mr. Right?
Nope, I'm looking for Mrs. Right, if anything. Well, Amelia's looking for Mr. Right, but me, personally, I'm looking for Mrs. Right. Well, I'm not even looking. If she shows up one day, then hey-ho, great, but if not, then, well, tough luck, tough break. Why do you ask?
Well, you asked about my love life. It's only fair that I ask about yours, don't you think?
I guess so, yeah, that's true. I pressed my lips together and puffed my cheeks out again. Yeah, it was fair. My situation hadn't changed, though. I was still single and nowhere near ready to mingle. At least that was what I had established for myself. He'll come around eventually.
Maybe. In the form of a cat.
Very funny. Hey! I smacked Lee's shoulder, making him laugh, and gripped to the steering wheel tighter to keep him driving straight.
I'm kidding!
Yeah. We both laughed and relaxed. Being around him made me feel happy. The fact that he was helping me get better at my writing only proved how much of a great guy he was. The thought of him being single crossed my mind, but as I thought of it, I shook my head. That was not something I had to think about now. I began to focus on my practice. What would I write? How would I write it? It was odd indeed to think about writing sex, but that was the oddity of being a romance writer. Our trip indeed went for 3 hours. During the time, I bounced ideas off of Lee, who gave me honest criticism each time. By the time I finally decided what to write, we arrived at the forest trail and entered a stretch of land littered with cabins. Wow. Seeing all of the cabins made me feel like I had stepped into a new world. I was always a city girl, so to experience living away from the bustle of the city was going to be interesting. Damn! Look at that nice little crib. Oh my god, that is so nice. At last, Lee pulled up and parked in front of a large cabin, one that seemed to be larger than the others.
Here we are.
Oh yes, Mama. Let me get in there. I stepped out of the car to take in the sight, smelling the fresh air of forest around us. Everything was definitely different from the city. The air was much cleaner, and the sights were as calm as I had imagined. Oh, I would love to live in a place like this. It was a shame that I had never experienced being away from the city, but I could only assume many other people were in the same boat. Lee stepped up beside me, my bag at his side, and crossed his arms.
So, what do you think?
Amazing. Yep, this is amazing. Lee smiled and reached into his pocket, pulling out a keychain with a green tag and waving it to me.
Here are the keys. It's all yours for the week.
Awesome. I smiled and took the keys, running my fingers along the teeth of each key in soft amazement. This was truly happening. I could barely take it in calmly. As I looked back up at Lee, he gestured to the cabin, waiting for me to move. I nodded and rushed to the cabin, climbing up the stairs and unlocking the front door to open it. Lee followed and smiled as I stepped into the building and took in the sights of the front room. Oh, wow. So this is a real cabin.
Did you think it wasn't?
It just looks so good. Like, the little fireplace in the background there, and then I'm guessing this bit on the right is the kitchen. Over there is, I don't know, the upstairs, or maybe that's where we come in. But, oh my god, just like all the different colours and textures. It's very vibrant, and it's just so clean. So nice. Hang on, why is there two mugs? Is he going to be staying there here with us? I puffed out my cheeks and stuck my tongue out at Lee, watching him enter and close the door before placing my bag on the ground beside him. I lived in a city my whole life. This is my first time in a cabin, so don't tease. Lee laughed and leaned against the wall near the door. I took that moment to absorb everything around me. It was all cleaned and prepped for whoever had the keys, and that lucky person was me. What, was it strange to think that I expected the place to be full of dust or cobwebs? Then again, this building along with others was probably rented out a lot, since it was part of a business, so the upkeep was probably to be expected. I shook my head and grinned at Lee. Thanks again, Lee, this really means a lot. Lee smiled and nodded, pushing off the wall.
Anything I can do to help, Amelia. Now, I will head into town and grab some food for us.
Again? For us? I was confused and tilted my head. Ah, here we go. For us, you're staying too? Lee nodded, crossing his arms.
I'll be sleeping on the couch, but I'll be staying to help you focus on your writing. You know, cooking and cleaning and stuff.
Wait, you don't have to.
I insist. As your manager, I want to make sure you use this break wisely. So I'll be making sure that you don't waste time when you don't have to.
Cool. I pressed my lips together, unsure of this. However, I understood why. He was right. The less time I spent cooking and cleaning, the more time I could spend focused on making sure my scenes worked. I guess that was another thing I could thank Lee for. Are you sure? A week's a long time to be stuck in a cabin with me. Lee and I laughed, with Lee shaking his head slightly.
I think I'll be fine. Besides, if you need any help, I can lend you my brain.
I nodded, thankful of what Lee was doing and offering. If I was stuck, he'd be able to help, and a second pair of eyes as well as a resource. I expected him to know his way around sex as well, so his view on it would help. Thanks, Lee. You spoil me, you know that. Lee laughed and turned back to the door, opening it.
If it helps, then it's no problem. Alright, I will be back.
Okay, have fun. Hey. Lee looked back at me and I tossed him the keys to the cabin. He caught it with ease and stared at me confused. So you don't get locked out. I'll be working while you're gone. Lee smiled and nodded before heading out. As I heard him get into his car, I let out a sigh. My week of sex writing practice had begun. I took in the smell of the cabin one last time before grabbing my bag and marching towards where I assumed the bedroom was. Oh my god. Like, give me this cabin? Oh my god, look at that bed. Oh my god, there's wine and everything. That's gonna come in handy later. The bedroom was as pretty as I had imagined. It was simple yet elegant, with a calming air about it and structure. With a calming air about its structure and aesthetic. I smiled and gently placed my bag on the bed before beginning to unpack. This week was going to be so fun. Oh yeah, it is. As I finally removed my laptop, I opened it and turned it on, listening to it wake up as I placed my folded clothes in the empty drawers on the side. Amelia Waters. Password Knights of the Heavenly Blade 2011. That's a long ass fucking password rather. My laptop, recognizing my voice and entering my sequence into itself, unlocked and opened to my desktop screen. I loved the voice activation software on my laptop. Not only did it make sure no one could access it without my voice, but it also helped when I wanted to write without using my hands. As I unpacked my sundries, I cleared my throat and spoke once again. Tara, open Word document, start new project. Upon my command, the computer opened my word processor to a fresh new page, awaiting instructions. I paused, staring at the bed. How should I start? My test and practice began with that simple question. How did one really start going into a sex scene? Obviously the story had to have started somewhere and the romantic or sexual tension drove the pair or group to delve into their desires. But I was about to hop straight into the sex. It was just practice after all. I shook my head. Now was not the time to go over details. I couldn't spend time building a story and never get to the sex. That would be counterproductive. No, I had to use characters I already created to start. Title: Knights of the Heavenly Blade. Characters: Sir Gerald and Princess Jasmina. Enter. Their names appeared on the document as the memory of their characterization came into my mind. They were side characters in my novel, Knights of the Heavenly Blade. Sir Gerald was the son of a king who, instead of taking up his birthright, devoted himself to serve the princess who has saved his life, Princess Jasmina. Jasmina, despite having a wise and mature upbringing, was a pure and innocent angel, ignorant of love and pleasure. Even as the book ended, Jasmina remained as pure as a blooming flower. Her heart, however, certainly belonged to Sir Gerald, as his belonged to her. Their love was picture perfect, and they were the perfect guinea pigs to practice sex writing with. Jasmina was shy and ignorant of sex, while Sir Gerald was intelligent and charming enough to let her lead and direct him. I grinned from ear to ear as I lifted my laptop into one of my arms, and my bag of sundries with my free hand. I quickly moved the bag into the bathroom before returning to the living room, ready to get started.
Jasmina, I love you with every ounce of my being,
he said, holding Jasmina's hands in his. Her face flushed at Gerald's words, causing him to turn her gaze away.
Sir Gerald, I love you as well, but...
Oh no, if a girl says but after she tells you she loves you, that's it. And it's time to run a mile.
But what, my princess?
Oh god, I'm getting a bit of lag, sorry guys.
But I am afraid.
Afraid of what? Her hands trembled. Her body was fearful of what was to come, having never experienced the warmth of a person's body in a bed. Her knight, however, lowered his head to her hands and softly kissed over each one.
Please, fear not, my sweet Jasmina. I give myself to you, to have me however you will. If your heart is not ready, then please know that I will understand.
My heart felt like jumping up and down in my chest. My mind wished for a sweet person like Gerald, with how he treated Jasmina. It was kinda sad that I was getting mildly jealous over a fictional character. Shaking my head, I continued. I needed to use this momentum. Jasmina stared at her love, the knight who had captured her heart and the man who had given her his very body and soul. She felt like crying in joy, feeling pure waves of elation and happiness of their love.
Gerald.
Yes? Oh my god, take me. She cupped his cheek gently, and then they fucked the end. She cupped his cheek gently. Yes, that's good. I nodded with a smile. This was good. This was very good. We had our moments of conflict, and our characters were going to push forward. It would be slow, but it would be worth the time going through it. Romantic sex was meant to be that way. Slow and gentle, with perfect harmony between people involved. Whether it was a couple or even a group, the idea of adding a third person crossed my mind, but I quickly shook my head. I had to focus on perfecting what I could for now before going wild with the scenes. I continued. Jasmina's hands quaked, but she trusted Gerald with every ounce of her being. She knew that he would never hurt her and trusted him to be gentle and loving with her.
Please, be slow.
Oh, wow. Gerald smiled, gently running a hand through her hair and combing it behind her ear. She looked so sweet in the candlelight of the room, and a hot blush running across her face. He nodded and sweetly pressed his forehead to hers, cupping her hand.
I promise, Jasmina.
Good boy, stick to your promise. Gerald gently walked to her bed, slowly sitting her down on the edge and kneeling before her.
Ask anything of me, my love, and I shall do it. This night is for you.
Oh wow, what a true gentleman, more of a gentleman than Lee. Jasmina quickly shook her head and cupped his head in her hands. Her heart pounded at the thought. She didn't wish for the focus to be on her. She wanted the night to be about them both.
No, tonight is for us.
Then what will you have me do?
Oh wow. Gerald gently moved in, leaning towards her and lightly resting his head in her hands. Jasmina stared deep into his eyes, becoming lost in their jade tint. How she loved to gaze into his eyes. They burned for only her, and she felt her heartbeat quicken at the gaze between them.
Kiss me.
Gerald immediately pushed forward. Like a feather, Gerald moved forward. He took her head and hands and pulled her towards him. Like a feather? As the words appeared on the page, I practically swooned. Jasmina's first time was going to be as romantic as it could be, and she would never forget it. Then again, I was talking about a fictional character. Once again, I was jealous of her. Damn it! I continued, and pressed his lips against hers. The taste of sweet honey from her lips melted between them as Jasmina slowly relaxed into his kiss and wrapped her arms around his broad shoulders. Her fingers danced along his skin as he wrapped his own hands around her waist, patient and focused on kissing his love. I continued on until Lee finally arrived back with fast food and groceries. Somehow he carried it all on his own. I had to admire his strength, but I merely watched him store the groceries away as I saved my progress. Welcome back.
Hey, how's the practice going?
It's going good. I just started chapter 1.
Oh, want to tell me about it?
I grinned, knowing he was going to like who I paired together. He really liked Knights of the Heavenly Blade, and Gerald was by far his favourite character. Oh gee, I wonder why. Well, I decided to use Gerald and Jasmina from Knights to practice with. Since Jasmine is a virgin and all, it was a good opportunity to practice slow and romantic sex writing. It's so sweet, I'm almost a little jealous of Jasmina. As Lee turned around to raise an eyebrow at me, I pointed at him. Don't you dare make fun of me. A single woman like me is allowed to dream and be jealous of fiction.
Uh-huh.
Lee pressed his lips together, failing to hide an amused smirk. I pouted at him, making him laugh.
Well, Gerald will definitely treat her well. Jasmina needs it to be slow and sweet.
Yeah, definitely. I nodded. Lee knew the characters as well as I did, which made me glad that he was my manager. Right. Lee finally finished putting everything away and handed me a bag of fast food before excusing himself to check out the place. Apparently, he had never been in the cabin and wanted to check the place out. As he called out, there was a second bedroom. I smiled. At least he wouldn't have to sleep on the couch. I ate my food and worked at perfecting the section I had written. While what I started with was okay, I needed to add visual aesthetics such as the light of the room, the smell of the candles, and everything that helped set the mood. The room was often an overlooked part of any story that many writers passed up on. I, however, knew better. A simple rustle of the bedsheets could make or break tension, while the smell of sweat needed to be controlled by the temperature of the room and of the people within it. There was a lot of work that went into writing. You had to be a director, a painter, a choreographer, a designer, a technician, and a god all at once. It was tiring to say the least. Ooh, the day quickly drifted into night as I finished the details of the scene. Lee, as he said he would, cooked and passed me dinner. He had never cooked for me before, so to try his cuisine was a nervous adventure. However, at the first bite, he sold me. His food was absolutely divine, and I had to fight and moan from the first taste that hit my tongue. He laughed and ate his food, promising to cook as well during the following week. I was very excited, to say the least. Okay guys, well, I'm going to leave this video here. I hope you're all enjoying this love and romance story. This is great. Like I said in the last one, it's very story driven. There's a lot to it, there's a lot going on. It's kind of happening quite fast, but it's got a nice build up to it. You know, it's steady progress. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this game so far, and I can't wait to get to the end and see what happens. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye bye.